And focus on this part, David. Look at this sentence. Pedro is my father. And then you say, Pedro speaks in English, right? Look at this. Pedro is my father and Pedro speaks in English. There are two sentences. You know, when you say, Pedro is my father, Pedro speaks in English, link, join these two sentences. Join. You say, okay,
Pedro
is
my father
Pedro is my
and
father and
speaks
Pedro speaks
speaks in English.
speaks in English. But now focus on this part. Focus on this part. You
Pedro.
repeat Pedro and Pedro 1 and 2
Two.
times, right? So which
Right.
one you replace? Number 1 or number 2 with the pronoun? With the pronoun, 1 or 2?
Number 2.
Number 2, you say, Pedro is my father
My father
and
and
he
speaks.
speaks
And he speaks.
in English. Okay?
Yes.
This is perfect. This is perfect. But today you will learn something that we call relative pronouns. Is our topic for today. Relative pronouns, okay? Relative pronouns means you join two clauses. It says relative pronouns means you join two clauses. But my question is, what is a clause? What is a clause? What is a clause? Now focus on this part. Clause is similar to a subject plus verb plus object plus prepositional phrase of place or prepositional phrase of time. You see? So this is mandatory. Mandatory. Wait a minute. Mandatory. Mandatory. But this is optional. 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 You see?
Yeah.
Did you understand? Focus on this part. Focus on this part. David loves Pepita. So in this case, David is the subject. Loves is the verb. Pepita is the object. Now look at this part. David play with Pepita in the park. In the park. So David, what is David? The subject. Play is the verb. Pepita is the object, or in the park is the prepositional phrase of place. Tell me.
David plays with Pepita.
That's true. That's true. David plays. It was my fault. David plays with Pepita. David plays with Pepita. Subject, verb, object, and prepositional place. Phrase of place. You see? Let's look at this part. I study English in the morning. So I is the subject. Study is the verb. English is the object. And in the morning is a prepositional phrase of
place.
Of time. Of time. This is place, and then we have time. Place, and then we have time. You see?
Yes.
Now look at this part. David work in a company. David is the
subject.
The subject. Work is the
Verb.
As the verb, and in a company.
In preposition.
Phrase of
Place.
Place. That's great. And the last one, maybe you say, she doesn't cook. She doesn't cook every day. Or I'm sorry. She went to Cusco. She went to Cusco in 2022. In 2022.
¿Qué pasaba?
Yeah,
She,
in the past, of course, she is
she is subject.
the subject. Went.
Present simple the verb.
Verb is the verb. Cusco.
Preposition, phrases,
Prepositional
place.
of place. Really? What do you think?
No,
Or is the object? Is the object.
object.
And in 2022?
Preposition, phrase,
Of
and time.
Prepositional phrase of time. That's great. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, 2 more questions and no more. Okay, 2 more questions. Look at this. I love the school. And then I work at the school.
Yeah.
Look at this part. I love. What is I?
I subject.
Is the subject. Love
Verb.
is the verb. And the school.
Object. Subject, verb. And preposition, phrases, place.
You see that the school in this case is the object, but the school in this sentence is a prepositional phrase of place, right? Well, this is a clause. A clause is a sentence. The clause is a sentence. You see? So now relative pronoun is you join the clauses. You join the clauses in order to sound sophisticated. In order to sound sophisticated and natural. So this is the way that you use, or this is why you use relative pronouns. In order to means like this in Spanish.
Yes, yes.
In Spanish. Okay, and sound, you know, is pretty similar to Spanish. Sophisticated and natural, you see?
Yes.
Any questions at this point? You got it? Yep. So relative pronouns, you use relative pronouns to join two clauses in order to sound sophisticated and natural, right? Okay, focus on this part. Now, pretty cool. Now focus on this part. Focus on this part. Yeah, here. We have, I'm sorry, I need to move this part and then put it here. Okay, okay. Do you remember the pronouns? Okay, okay. The pronouns. The pronouns. When do we use the pronouns, David? When do we use the pronouns? Do you remember? We use the pronouns. Why?
We use the pronouns
to kill, to
replace.
To replace what?
Replace.
To replace what? Look at this. Look at this. What is this?
The subject.
Exactly. You use the pronouns to replace the subject. Okay. In order to avoid repetition.
Avoid, teacher.
Avoid. For example, look at this. This is me. This is me. Okay. This is a fast food. Fast food. Fast food.
Yeah.
I avoid. I don't want to eat. I avoid. I avoid. Avoid.
Yeah.
Avoid.
Yeah,
so we use the pronouns to replace the subject in order to avoid repetition. You see? Focus on this part. How do we call this? How do we call this? What is his name? Relative
pronouns.
Relative pronouns. So relative pronouns, they are like pronouns, right? Because pronouns, we use pronouns to replace the subject in order to avoid repetition. So we also have pronouns here. And you say, Carlos, what are the pronouns? What are relative pronouns? Relative, because the pronouns is I, you, we, they, he, she, it. But relative pronouns are different. Focus on this part. There are 5, I guess. We have Look at this. Which, who, that, where, when. We also have whose. Whose. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 relative pronouns. And we also have one. This is the 7, but this is like different here. 7. And the 7th pronoun is whom. You will learn whom in the future. You will learn whom in the future, right? This is a special. This is a special. Okay? But this is cool, 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 everything. You know? You use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but 7 is a little bit difficult. Okay?
Yes.
So how do we use it? How do we use it? Okay, let's go here, relative pronouns. So we copy the same sentence here. We copy this sentence, we copy this sentence, copy this part, double it. Hey, I can double it. Sorry. Click on here, click on here. Dun 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 dun. Yes, and you remember that we did something like this, right? Focus on this part. You say, Pedro is my father. Pedro is my father. Pedro speaks English, right?
Yeah.
So you replace which one? Pedro, or the first Pedro or the second Pedro? You remember the sentence? You say something like, Pedro, I'm sorry, you say something like, Pedro is my father, and he speaks in English, right? Yep.
Right.
You say, Pedro is my father, and he speaks in English. I have a question. Why? Why not? Why not? He is my father, and he speaks in English. I don't understand why you didn't say, I'm sorry, something like, he is my father and Pedro speaks in English. Why not? What this is incorrect English. Why? Why? Because you replace, of course, with the subject. But my question is, this is incorrect.
Yes, other sentido.
And why? Because one, what happened?
Other mean? Other mean?
Because look at this. Because if you change, you know the verb change. Because if you change the first one, I mean, when I say the first one, this is the first one, this is the second one. Because if you change the first one,
two person.
It looks like
Claro.
looks like we are talking about the same person or a different person.
Different person.
A different person. A different person, you know? You say like, okay, here's my father and Pedro speaks in English. But if you say Pedro is my father and he speaks in English, is the same person, right?
Right.
So this is why this is incorrect. Okay? So this is incorrect. Did you understand?
Yes.
Now focus on this part. Carlos, but what is relative pronoun? You see, how do we call this? This is a clause, right?
Yeah.
And this is a clause.
Yeah, sí.
And you have, you join two clauses, right?
Sí, relative pronouns.
Focus on this part. Okay, first step by step. It's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. Number 1, step 1. Identify the thing or person, or identify something. It's the best word. Identify something that repeats. What repeats here? Pedro is my father and he speaks in English. What is the thing that repeats? Because you also say Pedro.
Subject.
The subject, but which one? Which one? This is like Pedro, right? Here's my father and Pedro speak English, so we can copy. Which one repeats? Pedro, right?
Right.
Pedro, because this is he. Okay, obviously this is he. I will change it because, and then you can see he is Pedro, right? You see?
Yes.
So now you identify if it's a person. If it is a person, you use who.
Yeah.
Okay, focus on this part. So you say, Pedro is my father And then you use the word who. Who because it's a person, right? Pedro is my father who, and then copy everything. You replace and you drop N and you replace who here. So you say Pedro is my father who speaks in English. You see? And
Yes.
focus on this part. You replace he, right?
Mhm.
So you use a rule here. Who? Pedro is my father who speaks English. If you want to have it in Spanish, it would be
Claro, ajá.
you see?
Sí,
So
también
Pedro
decir.
is my father who speaks in English. So I don't use and.
Ujú.
Okay. Did you understand this part? Now focus on this part. Focus. This is for you. This is for you. The same process. The same process. You say, I have a laptop. I have a
Yeah.
laptop. My laptop is green. Look at this.
Mm,
I have a laptop and my laptop is green. And then
that.
if it is a thing, you
That.
use which. But before you continue, focus on this part, David. He, what is he? The subject, look at this part here. Is the subject, the object, the verb, the complement. What is he?
Y la sabia.
It is the subject. Perfect. It is the subject. So you say here, when you have the subject, you use who. You see? Who, subject. Now, please join these two sentences. Which replace? What is the same that repeats twice? I have a laptop, my laptop is green. What is the same that repeats?
Object.
A laptop, right?
Object.
Laptop and my laptop. Which one you replace? The first or the second one? Which one you replace?
And the second.
The second one. So you say something like this. I have a laptop and my laptop is green, right? So you say, Carlos, repeat the second one. Repeat the second one. That's great. That's great, David. So you repeat this, right? So look at this part. You say, I have a laptop. So if it's a thing, what do we use? Which. I have a laptop, which is green. So if you want to translate it into Spanish, it would be like.
Claro.
Did you understand? And again, I have the same question for you. Laptop. What is laptop?
Object. Subject.
You see? And you also use which. When you have a subject here, you use who or which, right? Yes. Did you understand? Now, focus on this part. If you have, if it is a place, you use where. But focus on this part. It's a common mistake. Look at this. I love, I work in school. I love that school. Okay, what is the thing that you repeat twice? To say, look at this. I work in a school. I love that school. Okay, what is the thing that repeats again and again?
I work in school. I work.
What is the thing?
School,
right?
Right.
So say school. Which one you replace, the first or the second one?
The second one.
The second one. So you say, I work in a school. Now, this is my question. I work in a school. Look at this. I work in school and I love that school. Can I replace it or not?
And the second replace.
Yeah, focus on this part. You say the second one, right? Yep. But look at this. This is the
Subject.
subject, and this is the
Verb.
the verb. And what is that?
Preposition.
Phrase of place.
Place.
Place. But look at this. Which one you will use? Where, think, which, who, which one?
Where.
Where. So I work in a school, but focus on this part. This is what? The prepositional place. Are you sure, David? Look at this. Again, one more time. Focus on this part. I love that school. What is the school?
Ah, sí,
It's the object. But I work at a school is a prepositional phrase of place. My question is, I love that school. That school is a prepositional phrase of place? No, this is incorrect. So what is that school?
Object.
Is the object. So when you have the object or the subject, when you have the object or the subject, in this case, you use a person like this. Okay, focus on this part. Subject, object, and prepositional phrase of place. Okay. So you have the object. So you say which.
Which, yes.
Which I love. So you, if you want to have it in Spanish, you say something like this. You see?
Yes.
It is difficult for you?
No.
Pretty simple, but focus on this part. Prepositional phrase of place, where? Object, which? And the subject, who? You see?
Yes.
Next example for you. Look at this. I love a school. I work in a school. Okay, so you link this to sentences. You say, I love a school and I work in a school. I work in a school.
Where.
Now look at this. Okay.
This is which, where.
Okay, focus on this part. You what is the word that repeat again? School. School, right?
Yes.
So this is the subject, this is the verb, and what is in the school?
Preposition, phrase, place.
So you say,
yes. Where.
I love the school.
Where.
When I
work.
You see, I love the school where I work. Or it would be, I love the school. I love the school where I work. You see? So when you have the prepositional phrase of place, you use where. But if it is an object, you use which.
Yes.
So according to this part that we have here, if it is time, say when. Because it would be prepositional phrase of time. But now this is for you. This is for you. I play soccer. I play soccer on Mondays. And then you say, and I have classes. I have training, soccer training. I have soccer training on Mondays. So focus on this part. You join these two sentences again. So you say, I play soccer. I play soccer on Mondays. And then you have, and I have
soccer training.
I have soccer training on Mondays. So my question is, what is the thing that repeats all the time?
Soccer.
Soccer? I play soccer or on Mondays?
On Mondays.
Okay, it would be on Mondays. On Mondays. So which one you replace? The second one, right? Okay, I is the subject. Have is the verb. Soccer training is the object. Yeah, Mondays, prepositional phrase of time.
Phrase and time of time.
So you copy again. I play soccer on Mondays.
When
When, okay, look at this. When
when
I have
soccer training.
soccer training, you see?
Yes.
So this is relative clauses. And now the last one, look at this. And my favorite day is Monday. Monday. I love Mondays. I love Monday. Okay, link this to sentences. Again, my favorite day is Monday, and I love Monday.
Which?
This is, of course, this is which, right? Because Monday, I know it's time, but it is an object. So we say my favorite day is Monday, which I love.
Which?
And this
I
is
love
the way that you link to sentences. You see? Was it
Yes.
easy for you? Easy or difficult? Wow, look at this. Difficult or easy for you?
Easy.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So you know how to use which and who, right? And where and when. Pretty simple. Carlos, what about that? What about that? So it's pretty simple, David. Look at this. Here, who is for person, right? Who is for a person, right? But you can say, you can use that. You can use that. If you want, you can use that. Okay? So Pedro is my father. That speaks in English. Both can be. And then I have a laptop. I have a laptop which is green. You can say that. I have a laptop that is green. So that is for people and for things. Okay, so you can say here, and the same way you use that, and also you use that here. And it's perfect, but what is the difference? It's like a bit, just a bit informal. It's like, what's up, bro? This is the person that I like. You see? A bit informal. It's not informal, but it is just a bit. Did you understand?
Yes.
Okay, one more. Now we're done with that. And look at this. So now we have here whose. Whose is, it's not complicated, but focus on this part, whose. Look at this. I have a computer. And my computer's screen is broken.
Yeah.
So what is the same that repeats? Carlos, computer and computer. But remember that this is that computer and this is the screen of that computer. You see?
Yes.
So you always say,
Object.
I have a computer.
Which?
Whose screen is broken. Whose screen? I will give you the definition in Spanish of the word whose. Whose could be. So I have a computer and my computer screen is broken. You are not talking about the computer. This is not the computer. It's just the screen of the computer. It's a part. So this is a genitive. So you say, I have a computer and whose screen is broken. So we know how to use whose. Did you understand?
I understand.
You get it? So you know relative pronouns now. You know relative pronouns. We're going to practice in a few minutes, but I want to finish the class first. You got this part, right? Is this difficult for you? You get it?
No.
Okay, so you will use that all the time, I'm pretty sure. In English, everyone say, well, I have a course that is English. I have a person, whatever. You always use that when you speak, but it's okay if you use who, okay? It's okay if you use whose. So now, any questions up to this point? Any questions?
No question, teacher.
Okay, focus on this part. So this is relative pronouns, right? Relative pronouns. Now focus on this part. Relative pronouns. Relative pronouns. relative pronouns, relative pronouns, relative pronouns. It says relative pronouns can be divided into two groups. They call defining relative clauses and non-defining relative clauses. I will write here its name. So say defining relative clauses and refining relative clauses, and then we have non-defining relative clauses. And you say, Carlos, is this important? Yeah, it is very important. Why? Because it says that defining relative clause, it is a relative clause that, mira, it is a relative clause that, you see? It is a relative clause which helps you to identify. But I'm using relative clause in this concept of relative clauses. In non-defining, it is a relative. It is a relative clause which gives just extra information. It says it is a relative clause which helps you identify. But the non-defining, it is just a relative clause which gives you extra information. Did you understand?
Teacher,
Yep.
and in the defining, what identify?
One second. It says it is a relative clause that identify, and this is extra information. Pretty clear, the concept identify and extra information, right? Clear? Non-defining, extra information. Defining, identify. Perfect. Nice. Focus on this part. Focus on this part. This is a box. Look at this. This is a box. And then I say we have one. Let me change the color. One. I have another one here. Two. Let me change the color. This here. Another circle here. This is going to be red. One more. Okay, this is the last one. Okay, if I say, David, please. Look at this. David, please. I say, David, please. Remove one circle. What do you do? I say, David, please remove one circle.
The green circle. The green.
And why? Why green circle? Why green? Why green?
Yeah.
I say remove circle, but why green? You say, Carlos, the red one. Why red? Carlos, and the purple. Why purple? You don't know. You know or you don't know? You say, Carlos, but which one? You say, Carlos, but which one? You don't know, right? You don't know. Okay, you don't know. You don't know. So what do you need, David? What do you need? Defining relative clause or non-defining relative clause? I need to give information, of course, but this information would be defining relative clause or non-defining?
Defining.
Defining, because you need to identify, right? But now look at this. David, please remove the circle, which is red. Now you know, right? Now you know. Remove the circle, which is red. So you drop this one. You see? It is like this. Please remove. Okay, it was like, David, please remove one circle. And then the circle is red. So as you can see here, you're replacing the word circle, circle, and which. You got it, David? So
Yes.
David, please remove one circle, which is red. So defining relative clause, no commas. David, please remove one circle, which is red. No more. No commas. But what about defining relative clauses? Look at this part. Look at this part. Okay, Titanic is a movie. Titanic is a movie. Titanic was directed by James Cameron. And Titanic is a movie. It's an interesting movie. Titanic is very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. This is your heart, right? I'm sorry. This is your heart. And heartbreaking means like when you watch a movie, heartbreaking. You see? Heartbreaking. So now focus on this part. What are you repeating all the time? Titanic, 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 right? So then let's join this to sentences first. Let's join this to sentences first. So you say Titanic is a movie and Titanic was directed by James Cameron.
Yes.
Okay, what are you repeating all the time? What are you repeating all the time?
La second.
Titanic, Titanic. So you replace Titanic this for
Second sentence.
Titanic is a movie
Who?
which was directed by James Cameron, right? You see, Titanic is a movie which was directed by James Cameron, right? I have a question for you, David. Do you need to identify Titanic or you know that the movie is Titanic?
Ya, claro, es.
You know.
Claro.
You know, we are talking about Titanic. You know, we're talking about Titanic. So you use comma here. You see, but look at this. You don't say Titanic. A movie is interesting. A movie was directed by James Cameron. That is different because you don't know the movie, right? You don't know the movie. You say a movie is interesting, which was directed by James Cameron. You hear? No need a comma, because with this information, you identify the movie. You see?
Yes.
Did you understand? So you use comma here, and you don't use comma in non-defining and defining. I'm sorry, no commas, commas. Did you understand? So now I have a question for you. I have a question for you. Which is correct? Okay, which is correct, David? My father, who is a teacher, is kind, or my father, who is a teacher, is kind, with commas.
And the second.
The second one. And why, David? Why the second one?
And por la coma.
Why the commas?
My father who is a teacher. Extra information.
Extra information. And what about this part? Why not? Why not the first one?
My father and who is a teacher is kind.
Why not? Why not?
My father,
How do we call this? How do we call this? Defining or non-defining?
defining.
Defining. Okay, this is defining. And how do we call this?
No defining.
Non-defining. What is the purpose of defining? What is the purpose?
The not necessary.
Defining.
Indefine.
Identify.
Define.
And non-defining?
Extra information. More extra information.
So my question is, why this is incorrect? Why this is incorrect? Why this is incorrect?
Because the first sentence have extra information.
It's extra information. Okay, I'm going to explain very easy. Okay, look at this. You know that this information is important to identify. This information is important to identify, right? And this information is extra information. It's not necessary. Extra information, extra information. What is the difference? If you say this one, if you use this one, it means you need to identify. So you say this information because you need to identify, right? So look at this. What I understand is like, look at this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, it's loading. You have, for example, maybe a doctor. I need to make this bigger. A doctor and a teacher. And then you have maybe a lawyer, and then you have maybe an engineer or a programmer. Look at this, David. If you say, who is a teacher without commas, it means that you need to identify because you have more than one father.
The second.
Yes. The second one is perfect because it means, you are talking about your father who is a doctor? You're talking about your father who is a lawyer? No, I am talking about my father who is a teacher. It means you have maybe more than one father. But when you have my father, you obviously have one. You don't need to identify. It's not necessary. Did you understand, David? Or maybe in Spanish to make it clear, or you got it? In Spanish to make it clear, or in English is okay? The explanation.
In Spanish, teacher, please.
In Spanish to make it clear. Okay. Si tú me dices, my father who is a teacher, quiere decir que esta información es importante porque necesitas identificar. Ahora, si tú necesitas identificar, quiere decir que tienes que tener más de uno. Entonces, si tú me dices, mi papá, sin coma, ¿quién es un profesor? Estás identificando, quiere decir que tienes más de un papá. Entonces tú me dirías, no te hablo de mi papá que es doctor, no te hablo de mi papá que es abogado, te hablo de mi papá que es profesor. O sea, tienes más de un papá. Pero si tú me dices, my father who is a teacher, no necesitas identificar porque solamente tienes uno. Y me estás dando información adicional.
Es como en el español, ¿no? Como en español cuando la aclarativa.
Similar to Spanish. Very similar to Spanish. But that is the big difference between defining and non-defining clauses. Did you understand this part? Yep.
Yes.
Any questions? Wow, look at this. This is intermediate level. Intermediate level. So now we're going to practice. We are going to practice and the speaking part too. Log in. Hold on a second. Now the platform. Tell me.
What it means kids in Spanish? Kids. What it means?
Means. Okay, means. Okay, for example, it means
Weeks means quinceness, quince.
Ac significa, okay, it means, or I say, kind, kind,
Means.
kind means, kind means amable in
Ah,
Spanish. Kind, kind,
kind.
kind.
Yes. That's
Okay, let's continue. So we have here relative clauses. I will share my screen. It's loading. Okay, pretty cool. You want the difficult or the easy level first? Easy or difficult?
in the class.
The practice. Now we have a practice and the difficult, right? Difficult. Let's go. I will share screen so we can start practicing right away. Go. Okay, it says, this is a car my dad wants to have one day.
This is my car, my dog.
Where, which, or who?
In the which.
Which. This is the car which my dad wants to have one day. A chef is a person who works in a hotel or restaurant.
In the who.
Where? What is the answer? Where, which, or who?
Who.
Who. Nice. She is the congresswoman. Whose, or which video is on TikTok?
In the who también. Who.
Who? Incorrect,
Eso.
because you have video. The answer is whose video. Whose, cuyo video está en TikTok.
Claro.
Cuyo, who es quién, okay. Messi is the football player.
Which.
Which, but Messi is a person.
Ahorita player. Que admiro, que admiré.
Yeah,
Que,
a quien admiro o que admiro. Yeah, but Messi is a person, so you say who. Este who lo puedes traducir como qué o quién. Messi es el jugador de fútbol a quien yo admiro o que admiro. Este who significa qué o quién.
ya como que, como yo lo admiro a él, como que no, o sea, ya.
Pero sí, o sea, si tú, claro, es que si es sujeto, objeto, pero si es una persona, es who. Si es un objeto, es which. O puede ser incluso
Ajá.
that. ¿Vale?
O sea, indiferentemente si recae, por ejemplo, si yo miro a una persona, yo entiendo en el español que es un objeto, porque recae la acción, un objeto.
Ajá.
Pero acá en el inglés siempre se usa con el who, cuando es persona en este
Cuando es
caso.
una persona, siempre va a ser who.
Ya.
Cuando es un objeto, un animal, siempre va a ser which. Si te da flojera, utilízame that para cualquiera.
Ya, ya.
Repito, who para personas, which para animales o cosas. Si te da flojera, utilízame that. Si se refiere a un lugar, pero ese lugar es una prepositional phrase of place, es where.
Bueno,
Ajá. Entonces aquí sería who, porque es persona. Next. December, mira, December 7th is the date former President Castillo tried to dissolve Congress.
and where?
Where?
No.
When? When, nice, because it refers to the date.
Yes.
Disney World is the place.
Yo fui con...
En español es un poco confuso porque tú dirías, mira, Disney World es el lugar al cual yo fui o donde yo fui. En español es bien difícil de descubrir, pero en inglés es más fácil porque te dice Disney World is the place.
The place
Where, porque te refieres al lugar. Mira, I went. ¿A dónde fuiste? A Disney.
Ajá. Y así le dice.
Tarantulas are the ones.
Yes. In the who.
Who? But tarantulas are a person. Tarantulas are people.
Which.
Which?
Y el animal también.
Yes, for animals or for things. University is a place.
You know, que me junté con mi mejor amigo. No, who, where.
Where? My parents are the people.
Son los mejores. Yo lo amo. Son los mejores. My parents. And who?
Who? Miley Cyrus is the singer. Sunflower has positioning number 1. Which is the answer?
Which?
Incorrect.
No,
Tú
no es
dices Miley Cyrus, dice Miley Cyrus es la
Sí,
cantante.
sí.
¿La
Es
cual
el
canción?
Choose,
Whose.
Choose, Choose. Who,
Whose.
claro, porque es de su canción de ella. Claro.
Exacta. Whose
Sí,
song.
sí,
One more
sí.
time. One more time. We have
Sí,
another
pero
here.
para expresarme, sí, sí.
One more time. Okay, this one. Easy for you? More difficult, I guess.
Sí, sí, sí.
More difficult.
Solamente que un poquito más atento, me gusta.
Okay, te cuento algo. Tú sabes que las defining no llevan coma y esa información te permite identificar. Y tú sabes
Sí,
también que las non-defining llevan comas porque esa información es información adicional. Yo también
yes.
te dije, oye, el who se usa para personas, el which se usa para animales y cosas, y si te da flojera, utilízame el that, ¿cierto?
Yes.
Ahora te comento algo. Cuando tú te refieras a una relative clause que es non-defining, las non-defining llevan comas, ¿cierto?
Yes.
Nunca me uses el that. Por ejemplo, mira, sí. Imagínate que yo tengo la siguiente oración. Imagine I have the sentence, Carlos, sorry. Carlos is the person who speaks in English. ¿Te acuerdas? Me diste. Carlos is the person who speaks in English. Vale. No, no hay comas, entonces como no hay comas, yo puedo utilizar that. I'm sorry. ¿Verdad? Porque me da flojera y pongo that. Si fuera un objeto sería con which, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Pero si estuviese entre comas, nunca le pongas that. Siempre lo dejas en who. Si hay comas, nunca trabajas con el de that.
O sea, si es esto,
Non-defining.
no, no defining, ¿no?
Claro, si es
Claro.
non-defining, nunca vas a usar el that.
Ya,
Y con
yes.
eso ya tienes el writing. O sea, hemos avanzado hoy día writing, lo del uso de comas, speaking. Realmente, como te dice aquí, hace que suenes muy natural porque no estás repitiéndome oraciones. Ok, a ver, vamos a practicar con un ejercicio más. A ver, aquí creo que la tengo. Aquí. I will share the screen.
No, no.
Okay.
Yes.
It says, Sally is the student who always sits at the back. Is defined or non-defining? Important information or extra information? Ese who always sits at the back. Ese es important information or extra information?
No defining, extra information.
Muy bien. ¿Por qué? Porque no necesito identificarla. Ya sé de quién se habla, de Sally. ¿Qué? No, esto está mal. Esto está mal. Ah, vale. Ya entendí. Ok. No te preguntan si quiere determinar si esto es important o no. Como no hay comas, ¿qué va a hacer?
Defining.
Defining, como no hay comas. Pero tú, me ha encantado el hecho que hayas analizado de que como ya te dice Sally, lo importante sería que vaya comas, ¿verdad?
Claro,
Bien.
porque ya no hay información de ella.
A ver, aquí, mira, aquí hay comas. ¿Qué va a hacer?
No defining.
Non-defining. Ni siquiera leemos, ¿te das cuenta? O sea, nos preguntan que dominemos el uso de comas, el nombre. Aquí, quickly.
No defining.
Non-defining. One more.
Environment. Defining.
Defining.
Race one.
Okay. Pretty simple for you. Vamos a cambiar de nivel. Okay, here. I will share the screen. Okay, my teacher.
My teacher was running. Who?
Who? Yep. The heavy rain.
Ya. El clima vivió. Julio. Pues, no, wet. Wet, teacher, wet
Wet,
in Spanish.
mojado, húmedo, wet.
I heavy rain.
Some heavy rain. Where, which, or who?
Which,
Which. Okay, that's great. Pregunta, ¿puedo ir that?
no, porque es indefined.
Ajá, porque hay comas. Como hay coma, el that y las comas se odian. El that y las comas se odian. I'm going to visit New York. Vale, dejemos este que está bien fácil para ti y vamos a hacer que pienses un poquito más. Como puedes ver, este es de nivel avanzado y quiere decir que te he explicado bien porque lo has entendido. Así que vamos a los ejercicios de aquí, ¿ok? Mira, acá es lo que te enseñé. Mira, nivel avanzado y ya lo dominaste porque te lo expliqué de una forma bien fácil. Sí, es nivel avanzado.
Creo que te lo
Así
hice
que,
para
ajá, y
la
te lo hice
presentación de
fácil.
ley.
Mira, defining, mira, un montón de cositas raras. Vamos a los ejercicios de una vez.
Para practicar el writing, ¿cómo usted me sugiere? Yo estaba leyendo una obra en inglés y estaba, cada hoja que leía, o sea, igual me ayudaba con el traductor en los significados, usando, por ejemplo, he visto que las obras usan bastante el pasado, bastante, por eso que estoy un poquito más ágil en lo que se da cuenta. Entonces,
Ujú,
cada hoja que leía hacía como que una pequeña interpretación o sea, hacía en Word. Por
ujú.
ejemplo, si me leía una hoja, siempre en una obra siempre te describen el autor, ¿no? Te dicen cuándo nació, todo. Entonces,
Lo que
escribía
recuerdas.
lo que entendía,
Ah, entonces
¿no?
sí, eso te va a ayudar bastante y vas a poder sacar palabras. Ahora con esto que vas a aprender el día de hoy, vas a bustear tu inglés bastante. Como te digo, es un tema de nivel avanzado, ¿vale? Entonces, no ha sido difícil, lo has agarrado fácil. Te lo expliqué de la forma más simple posible y mira, ahorita vas a completar estos ejercicios y vas a decir, wow, empecemos. La isla, the island of Adwich, is located 97 kilometers from the mainland. Is famous for its sheep and cows. Dice, es
Ya.
famosa por sus ovejas y sus vacas. ¿Qué relative pronoun podría ir aquí?
And, who,
¿Cuál?
who.
Who. Ok. Pregunta, the island of Adwich. ¿Qué cosa es eso? ¿Una persona, un animal, una cosa? ¿Un tiempo?
No, no. Which.
Which. Ya está, es which.
Sí, sí.
Siguiente, the man.
I mean, was the brown jacket. Tiene un nombre. Ya ese es which, who.
Who. Excelente. Many people. Livelihood es un sustento, o sea, puede ser un sustento económico, como tu trabajo o algo, sustento.
Entiendo de que es which, porque habla bastante persona.
No, es que tú lo has dicho, son personas, por lo tanto, ¿qué va a ser?
Oye, siempre oye, cuando son who.
Ya, ahora,
Eh,
tú habla, pero ahora te dice, mira, muchas personas, sustento depende de la agricultura, están comenzando a sentir los efectos del cambio climático. Va a decir, muchas personas, ¿quién o qué sustento? O, o dónde
claro,
sustento, o cuyo sustento depende ¿de qué están hablando este livelihood que es?
claro, lo importante es en sí claro, su sustento, el sustento, claro.
El
Entonces sería
sustento
de las personas, sería
de las personas,
which,
que se usaba para hablar de pertenencia, el who,
no,
el
joder,
whose. El whose
who's-
dice, muchas
no
personas
sé,
cuyo
era
sustento.
poco usado, era
Ah,
poco
mira,
usado, ¿no?
1974.
Bueno,
When, excelente, when. Deliver the box I gave you yesterday to the man in the corner.
el
¿De qué te habla?
delivery,
Mira, deliver the box, entrega la caja, yo te di ayer. ¿Qué le dio ayer? La caja, ¿cierto?
claro, which,
Which. My sister,
my sister, um, eh,
casada con un argentino, vive en París.
no entiendo. Bueno, sería who.
Who, ¿quién está casada o quién
Ujú.
casada? Ok. What if it rains on Monday? Dice, ¿qué pasa si llueve el lunes? Tú te gradúas. Este on Monday.
En la
¿Qué sería?
Monday es
Who, when, which, where, when.
The when,
When, porque
per,
me habla de tiempo. Ese está
repeated,
bueno.
ajá,
¿Cuándo te
when,
gradúas?
ajá,
Y la última dice, I can't believe this phone is supposed to be waterproof. It's already broken. No puedo creer que
and
este teléfono,
waterproof, no,
waterproof es a prueba de agua, waterproof.
ya, ya, no, ya, entonces sería which, no, no,
Which. Sí, este es
which,
which.
sí, sí,
Ahora
sí,
mi
porque el
pregunta
otro
es,
es
analicemos, ¿en qué oraciones puedo usar el that?
in en las, in the sentence, in the sentence,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8. ¿En qué oración de aquí?
two,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. ¿En cuál?
the sentence two, five,
2, 2 in 5. Excelente. En la 2 y en la 5. Bien,
in,
bien, bien, bien. Congratulations,
no,
David.
no más,
Congratulations. Acabas de dominar lo que son relative clauses. Para hacer tu primera lección de nivel avanzado no te ha costado mucho. Ha sido bien fácil para ti, la verdad. El siguiente tema que vamos a aprender en la próxima lección podría ser, ya tenemos relative clauses. No, quiero tener speaking contigo. Y lo que vamos a hacer es terminar lo que es el pasado perfecto, el presente perfecto, para que en tu tercera clase tomes, voy a dejar de grabar aquí,